Hello everybody, I'm Martin. Welcome to another episode of Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert. So I was looking into Advanced Rocketry to try to actually get started on it this episode, and man, that's a rabbit hole and a half. So just to go get started on making like the roller, I realized you needed lubricant, and lubricant requires oil. Well, the only real way I can get oil is out of my Industrial Foregoing drill over here. And to make it more reliably get that, I decided I needed to make laser lenses. And as you can see in here, I've got them made. And what they do is raise the odds of certain ores matching their color type. In this case, we're getting the oil sand and the oil shale at higher odds. The white ones are in here to show, as I mentioned in my comments, that you can pull out iridium from this, which makes this another way to get it without going to another planet. The problem is, to make these lenses, you need pink slime balls, which aren't that hard to make, but they do have that manual step of needing to kill the slime to do it. And I did some looking into this to try to figure out what we needed to do to actually make this a lot easier to do. And you're going to find a lot of wrong advice online about this, so be careful. Because one of the things they'll suggest you do is, well, nearly a cheaty thing. And that's that they have a 3x3 recipe to turn it into a green slime block. Because in other packs, the other slime balls all have this recipe as well to make green slime blocks. Which means in theory, you can put them in a compacting door and have pink slime blocks on the bottom and green slime blocks on the top. And you can input green slime blocks in to pull them out. And this works if you have some way of getting green slime balls. That said, the other colors do not work, okay? The recipes are overridden by blocks in their colors, so you can't actually easily just do this, unfortunately. So that's out. Another thing you'll see is people will mention making a spawner of it. Well, the pink slimes have no spawn rules other than having the block of slime liquid on the ground, which makes it so the spawners don't work, and I'm kind of glad I looked that one up before I actually made a Resturb spawner out of it, so that didn't work. Then I remembered I had a mob duplicator already made, and well, that's easy enough, just grab the Pokeball and shove it in there. And that's what I did, and now you can see I have more pink slime balls than I'm going to need for a very, very long time. But this all led me down a weird rabbit hole, and led me to thinking about other things I could do with the mob duplicator, and led me to the whole of, well, maybe I should get around to making Mekanism's quantum entangloporter so that when I actually do make the building off of this to put advanced rocketry in and maybe my power, I have an easy means to move items and power around. And this isn't too bad, except, well, it requires dragon hearts, which we've got a bunch of, but you do remember that I said I wanted to make a dragon farm. Well, I did the stupid and risky thing of putting it in my mob farm. I switched into my armor so you guys can actually see what's going on inside there. And you notice the duplicator is down at the bottom, but behind it is an automated user set to a relatively low tick delay and a fairly large click area. And that's because I have a dragon Pokeball in here. So let me turn this on to show you how this works. So you'll notice that the dragons spawn and left a corpse, and that they can get big and stick out of the cage. That part's unfortunate because they can actually attack you, but you notice that it's slowly decaying, and that's because they have to be touched by the automated user to actually strip their corpse of their items. That's the only way you can get things out of them. But you notice how it goes pretty fast. I'm going to go up a little bit higher in case a stage 5 appears. But you see how this... Oh! Well, and that's the reason why I should not be inside the cage while this is happening. The dragons won't move around unless they see me. And since their heads stick out of the cage, that's not great. But because this can spawn stage 4 and 5 dragons, especially field dragons, you can get dragons out of it. I also need to toss these in a trash can. But this will help us out when it comes time to do more stuff with fire and ice, because we do need to build a dragon forge later. So clearly I have the dragon heart situation solved now that I've got 385 of them sitting in a chest behind me there. So that's not the issue with making the quantum entangloporter now. So let's look into the other pieces that we need. Well, there's the teleporter frame, which sounds scary, but isn't. There's the matter beamer, which sounds super intimidating, but isn't, because this one we already made and can replicate. Well, there's the teleport in the center. That's probably bad, right? Well, no, this isn't too bad. Except, oh, teleporter coral we haven't seen. Oh, but this is all stuff we can all easily do, so that's not scary, right? And then there's the forestry intricate circuit boards, which all the forestry stuff's easy, right? Oh, this is a problem. Well, it's not really a problem so much as it's just going to be painful to make, because it requires 2 of these ultimate control circuits, which means we need 4 of these, although we can replicate them, because I don't want to have to sit through empowering this, honestly. And then thankfully we already set up this to make these, so that just leaves making the various circuit boards. Basic one's easy, second one's not much harder, and the third one's also pretty simple. So thankfully we've already gone through all of the work to take care of this step, because otherwise this could have been really, really bad. So the Quantum Entangloporter. This is basically a remake of an item from an older mod pack called the Tesseract. And what this does is it allows you to pass things wirelessly from one to another as long as they're chunk loaded. And these can actually support an upgrade that will do that exact thing if you aren't already using like a built-in chunk loader of some other sort. And what this lets you move around are items, power, liquids, gases, and heat. All of the general things you would really want to run through pipes. So to set these up, you start by going into the interface and creating a network. And we'll call this test 1. And we'll click that, and that will set this box's frequency to test 1. Then we come over to the other one and click on it over here and set that as well to join the network. And now these two are joined together. The next thing you're going to need to do is go into the side configs, and just like all other Mekanism boxes, they have this interface to set what can input and eject, and these will need to be set properly. I'm going to use inputs on this side and outputs on the other. Also be aware there are 5 different tabs for the different types of things you want to be able to do, and these all need to be configured properly. So the first thing we're going to do is show how item transfer works. And to do this, I've added a pair of boxes on top of each connected to it with item ducts. Well, I set up 2 chests on top of item ducts here, and then promptly realized I misplaced my sword somewhere, and I guess now I have to go make a new one because I can't find it anywhere, and that kind of derailed this whole process here. So, now that we have these 2 chests on top of the 2 entangloporters and connected, what we need to do is set a servo on the one on the left. Tell it that we want to send TNT, and only TNT. And let's toss some, I don't know, some sea lanterns in here and some TNT. And turn the servo on. And you notice that it started yanking the TNT out and sending them over to the chest on the right. Considering that these entangloporters act almost like ender chests and can pass anything they want into it, you absolutely need to make sure you're dealing with filters from pulling from your inventories, because in the case that we're just using this chest here, we would have pulled the sea lanterns as well. But if I had to say attach this to the drawer controller behind it, it would have tried to pull everything into the entangloporter. The next thing we're going to do is wire up power, which is more or less done the exact same way. Just make sure the correct sides are wired up for input and output and connect it. And you can see that this is getting power, as well as this one. So I think you can see how the entangloporter is actually useful. And my immediate use case for this is to actually connect this in the back corner over there where I have an energy cube right now. And well, I'm going to need to pipe things up to where my chem lab is and out to another building where my advanced rocketry stuff is eventually going to be. And then toss the other one over back by my void miner, remove all of the piping between the two, just to get my pipes back and reduce the amount of travel that they have to do. And now you can see that I'm outside my void miner. I'm at the energy cell that feeds it. You can see that this is ticking down and losing power because it removed all of the cabling into it from under it. The quantum entangloporter is currently not set up to output to the bottom, so let's output that. Let's output that on power like we're supposed to, and set it to auto eject. And now you can see that it's filling right back up and providing power wirelessly. While this might be a bit of a success story for my void miner for at least passing power wirelessly around, this isn't really my only or sole use, but these also aren't simple to make. I did make a bunch of the components to make more of these, and I will have more important uses for this as we go on through the pack. Another thing of note with these is these do operate like the ender chests and tanks and whatnot do. They can travel across dimensions. One of the main use cases for it is to wire it up to something like a digital miner and go travel to another planet and just pipe things back to your home base, as well as send power out to it. So now that we've got this finished, I think that's pretty good progress for the day. Now we can clean up the base some and hopefully get started on more wireless transfer of stuff possibly between dimensions. And with all of this progress today, I think I'm calling it a day. As always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.